welcome back to the Auto Obscure Garage for another episode of the Auto Experience series, and we are experiencing something, aren't we, my friend?
Yes, we are. This is I'm Frank, by the way.
Yeah, Frank, he's my podcast life partner from another Pointless Automotive Pod. Oh my God, dude, I'm gonna slide on the tires off the edge of the cliff there.
Yes,
okay.
Gonna DB the tires on my 1988 Chevrolet Sprint Turbo.
Hell yes. And it was another Pointless Automotive Podcast I was saying before I almost plummeted to my doom. We're not surviving any kind of a wreck in this thing.
Nope.
Oh, this is a blast, guys. This is quite an obscure little hatchback. A lot of Suzuki in this thing. Let's be honest, this is not really a Chevy product at the end of the day.
It's complicated.
It is that's their relationship status, isn't it?
Yes,
Can I grab a second? Let's grab a second.
You can.
Ooh, we got boost. The flashing turbo light indicates that we have boost.
That's true. It lets you know.
These tires sound like I'm constantly hitting a rubber, like a warning strip on the side of the road.
It is a driving warning strip.
I'll keep it under control so we can speak. Guys, this is a good one. These are pretty rare. How many years? 2 or 3 years that these run, Frank?
I believe... I've seen conflicting reports. I believe it's 3. I believe it's 87, 88, and 89. I don't know how many they actually sold in 87. I believe the extreme majority are 88 and 89.
Okay, cool. So pretty limited run. The real question is how many are around today? None.
Couple dozen.
Yeah. In like roadworthy condition, it's very slim pickings. And this is a super clean one, super stock, never messed with, right? Never modified.
No, other than an aftermarket, period correct, if you will, tape deck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's original down to the 12-inch tires.
Aren't we all? Yeah, we have 12-inch tires. Of course, Frank never brings me a car with super sticky tires. This is adding to the excitement today, I'd say. This thing, when we did the acceleration test, one wheel peel for decades. Yeah,
and it's 79 pound-feet of torque, but it's a 155 with tire and of mysterious and dubious quality. Petless, elegant is the tire, and that's not for like a lack of wanting better rubber. It's just not a whole lot available.
It's what it is, guys. When you have 12-inch wheels, that's what you get.
It's a curse.
The power plant of this car is interesting too, right? We're dealing with a 1-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged motor.
Yes.
It is effectively the Geo Metro 3-cylinder. Like you said earlier, I guarantee they probably did something. They lowered the compression.
Sure.
Maybe a different cam, maybe a different crank. But what are we making? 70 horsepower?
70 horsepower, 79 pound-feet of torque, which is up from, I believe, roughly 50 horsepower in NA Metro guise. Okay. And you think, like, boy, 20 horsepower, that's not a whole lot to get out of a turbocharged setup, but I don't know, that's what, 35% more power?
It's actually quite good for the displacement too, right?
Plus more torques.
So yeah, a lot of torques. Good Lord, we can't really tap into them. Corners are more of a hang-on for dear life affair instead of...
Sure, it's soft.
Kicking it out, but boy, good tires, good suspension. This thing could wake right up. It's light. I don't want to reveal the lightness of it yet. We'll do that in a little bit.
Secretively light.
It is incredibly lightweight. It's bordering on K car dimensions. Oh, it feels it, dude. It actually, the inputs are good. The car wills itself around the corners. The tires are like, please God, stop.
Yeah, like driving this, I talked with you before on the podcast about taking it on the Driving Well Awesome rally, the last rally they did, the classic rally, and I did not have want for power. I really didn't, and not that it has a ton, but it's so light that you don't need a lot, and
that's
really,
the answer. Yeah.
Brakes are deeply questionable.
Highly.
The tires are, you're just happy they aren't de-beating themselves in every corner. The suspension is soft, hangs on for dear life. But yeah, big sway bar, lowered a little bit, just tighten everything up.
Yep. Be a proper little car.
Yeah, it really would. I think it really is kind of a blank slate of lightness.
Yeah, these are so cool, guys. Again, you just don't see these anymore, and this one's in pretty damn good shape, actually.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's held together quite well, and it performs. It feels very healthy. Like power plant feels wonderful. The turbo's definitely there. It doesn't let off. It pulls from pretty low, which is not, you know, characteristic of turbocharged cars in the period. I'm betting that has to do with the small displacement of the motor, to be brutally honest. But it just goes. This is the perfect recipe for a fun hot hatch, you know.
And it's what's great about it is because of the way it's styled. They were all either white with red trimming and decals, or red with white trimming and decals. They all had white kind of rally style pie plate wheels.
Mm-hmm.
And you show up anywhere in this thing and people smile. Like it's
beautiful.
Cars and coffee. If this was a Mark II GTI, like nobody cares. Right. But you show up in this and it's, oh my God, what is that? And they see the little scoop in the front. It says intercooler, and it's very silly, but fun at the same time, if not imperfect.
No, you nailed it. Real quick, let's hit on the market, because I always like to look at the market on these weird cars. Like, I don't even know what to say, man. What do you put like a running and driving Sprint Turbo in decent shape?
Yeah, I mean,
it's tough, right?
It's tough because it's either, what is interesting though is I find that like this is probably, I would say, a great driver quality car.
Mm-hmm.
It's not perfect, but what's interesting is when you do see them, they're kind of like this. They're good driver quality cars, or they're just a shell that's completely dead, and there's kind of that's kind of how they are. And so I don't know, like I feel this one's got 142,000 miles. The motor's been replaced with a used motor that is very healthy. Mechanically, it's pretty sound. I think it's probably a $6,000 to $7,000 car.
That was right where I was gonna say 65 to 7 for sure. No, yeah. It's good value even at like the 6 to 7K. If you find a runner or driver that's like presented well, yeah. I think you're doing well. I think it's a lot of car for the price. And truthfully, right now, guys, you're seeing live me believing that I thought this was just going to be a fun, quirky, abstract piece. It's actually a proper hot hatch. This thing actually dices pretty good. It's pretty flat for the softness of the suspension. Right. It reacts quick. Oh my God, that was rough. And then it just changes direction very well. It's very excited to go through the canyons. I'm a believer now, man. Chevy Sprint Turbo, hot hatch. Official badge has been presented. You know what? Let's put this thing through some objective test and see what the numbers look like.
Let's get objective.
Let's get the Sprint Turbo up on the scales to get that curb weight and front and rear balance. The Sprint Turbo tipped the scales. Well, it didn't tip them at all, actually. It weighed in at only just over 1,500 pounds. This is by far the lightest car we've ever tested on the channel. How light, you may ask? Well, it beat out a Geo Metro convertible, a car held together with aluminum foil, by 250 pounds almost. The next lightest cars I've tested are Mazda Miatas. Look at the gap in weight between this Sprint Turbo and them. Unbelievable. The front and rear balance of the Sprint Turbo is also not that bad, probably due to the very low weight of that power plant. Here's where that 70 horsepower shows up again. The Chevy Sprint Turbo was a fair bit slower than a Mazda Miata NA edition and a little bit quicker than a Land Cruiser. So yeah, not great acceleration numbers. I was fully expecting the Chevy Sprint Turbo to completely fall on its face under my truly discerning criticism, and it very much did. but also didn't. Hear me out. This example was running no-name tires with no clear tread wear acknowledgement nor effort. The suspension was original and nearly 40 years tired. Brakes were also an afterthought, with non-ventilated front discs and rear drums of the ancient and cheap nature. Yet, the Sprint Turbo coerced me to push it hard into the corners. There's some gold in these here chassis dynamics. The absolutely bonkers just over 1,500 pound curb weight certainly helped here. The Sprint Turbo is a legit hot hatch handler. That with some upgraded coilovers, a larger rear sway bar, and a brake upgrade could be just plain damn wonderful. It's impossible for a boxy hatchback not to look sweet. The Sprint Turbo oozes with 80s aggression, exaggerated bumpers, colored keyed even, but the piece de resistance is the intercooler duct integrated into the front grille. This example suffers a -10 cool points for not having the epic red intercooler with an aero decal, but it's still such a cool design element. 12-inch wheels with the coolest plastic wheel covers of all time pull the whole image together. So much style in such a small package. The Sprint Turbo nails 80s hot hatch design style with ease. The Sprint Turbo interior is, in one word, an interior. But it is a fully functional automotive interior. There's nothing really to call out save for two absolutely awesome features. The first being the 3-spoke steering wheel adorned with period-correct font proclaiming that this chariot is indeed powered by a turbo. And these seats, peek in and see these bad boys. All the points are in style rather than substance, but who really cares? They provide minimal bolstering and comfort. But did you see the color gradient pattern? So damn cool. The Chevy Sprint Turbo is powered by a highly interesting 1-liter 3-cylinder motor. The Suzuki G10T is a fuel-injected turbocharged with an intercooler 3-cylinder motor making 70 horsepower. Hey, we get 79 pound-feet of torque. These numbers go harder than one would think when the low curb weight of the Sprint Turbo is factored in. Power pulls in a fairly linear fashion to the should have been higher 6,500 RPM redline. The turbo isn't super peaky like many of the other 80 turbo cars. It comes on strong and continues spinning until you run out of gear. It's an interesting power plant that pairs very well with this diminutively sized hot hatch. The 5-speed manual in the Sprint Turbo was reportedly made by GM and actually pairs well with this little turbo power plant. The throws are period correct in long throw distance, but slot nicely into the next gear with zero argument. The clutch pedal offers very little feedback, especially for a cable operated one. But again, it gets the job done, and well. A solidly performing manual gearbox paired with a lively power plant is the most essential ingredient combo in any hot hatch recipe. And I'm very happy to report that the Sprint Turbo nails this. Is this boxy little 3-cylinder a proper hot hatch or more of the diet version? The Sprint Turbo hosts some numbers that mislead and then inspire. The low horsepower number of only 70 may cause naysayers to never take this boosted Sprint seriously, but they failed to see the feather-light curb weight of just over 1,500 pounds. It doesn't take much engine motivation to move this little of a mass around. The Sprint Turbo is a willing and able and engaging machine, just missing a few key handling mods to really bring it to life. What I originally thought was just going to be a quirky retro hatch genuinely surprised me when I pushed it in the canyons. The Chevrolet Sprint Turbo is not a diet hot hatch. It's the full-bodied, ready to be spiced up to the user's wants level of hot hatch flavor.